Renfaires approach, landlord of the bar.
Let me see if I have anything else as far as... Oh, yes. Okay, people can go to my site to find Renaissance and Scottish festivals, Viking. Is there a main website or three where they can find the Comicons that you attend or steampunk events?
You know, when I'm looking to find events to go to, I just generally look at, if you're wanting to stay in your state, like if you're wanting to find Comicons in Oklahoma, Google Comicons or cons in Oklahoma. Oklahoma has horror fests, they have anime fests, they have Comicons. I don't know that they have a steampunk festival. I know in December they have a Dickens on the Street type festival
too.
And so if you're wanting to find a certain kind of thing to go to, Google it. You know, we're in a world right now where someone has compiled, like you compiled this for Renaissance Festival, someone's compiled a list of the known. There's always a new one coming up that's not on the list. There's just no way to get them all.
It's true.
But, you know, like, do you know of the app Rennie?
No.
There's an app called Rennie that by state lists every Renaissance festival they know of in America.
I better run them out of business.
Got to run them out of business. Rennie. And you can do it by state, you can do it by date.
Oh, good.
So it's a great app. But there's probably a Toonie app out there somewhere that has all the Comicons or comic fests or something like that. So you can look and see if there's apps out there that cover steampunk festivals, Comicons, anime festivals, whatever it is you're interested in a similar way. I just haven't looked for them because Renaissance is my main thing.
Very good. Gramercy, thank you for that information, even though it's competition. Okay, and as far as the interview side, where can people contact you or see some of your wares?
I actually have a Facebook page, Feather in Your Cap on Facebook. I'm working on a website. It's currently down, but I have a website that is renfeather.com.
Renfeather.com. I will put that on my comments below when I can adjust.
And it's way behind. It's not up and ready. I mean, you can go on and you can order some items, but it's not where it should be. And then if you get a hold of me through the web page or through the Facebook page, you can just message me and I'll get back with you and talk about how to ship the goods, or if you're looking for a specific. One of the things I do is I make vests to fit. So if you're a 2XL or 3XL even, I can make vests that are bigger than normal. I made vests for 3-year-olds.
Oh my, nice.
So I made the tiniest vest and I made the biggest vest. And
what good parents.
And so, you know, you just got to know how to do it. I actually have a man right now he's very big. He's probably 2XL or bigger, but he's a ventriloquist and he wants a matching costume for his puppet. And so I may be making a matching costume for like a 4-year-old and a very big person. So that's going to be an interesting experience. You never know what you're going to get into, but I can make any color. I can make any combination. So if you're looking for a costume, I can make it to fit and I can make it what you want.
That sounds like dressing big and little Enos Burdette from Smokey and the Bandit.
Yes, it is. I hadn't thought of that. That's a very good analogy.
Oh, goodness. Let's see. All right. I think that's most stuff I had for the interview. I had a few other things to pick up on. And if you think of anything you want to throw out during this, go ahead. I can only see myself being able to attend fairs 5 to 6 days this fall. There are 3 events which fall in the same weekend this fall, and 2 other events which fall in another of the same weekend. One event, the Heaving the Runestone Fest, will not happen until next year in the fall. So it's kind of curtailing the events that I get to attend. But I've had an idea, and I'm just throwing it out here now to see if I get any feedback. And I will do again, so on my website and Facebook. If there are any Rennies, any of my family around Tulsa that wants to get together, maybe at a park, and maybe do a potluck dinner, luncheon, or at a restaurant, and we could just hang out and talk about what's going on in our lives, what we want to see at a fair, what we have seen at a fair, leave a comment in the comment section below this, or send me a Facebook message or email. And perhaps this fall and maybe into the winter, it'd be a good way to get through the winter. We can meet up and see what's going on with our lives, and I can give updates, pardon me, on events I know coming up in next spring. And maybe somebody has a new song and they're a performer, they could play it for everyone, see how they like it. Tell us what kind of garb or wear you're making if you're a vendor and you want to do this. I'd be happy to coordinate some of these, mayhaps. And maybe if it's not in Tulsa, some of you, I may be able to travel an hour or two to meet one way or another. I imagine this is how some Renfaires have started in the past, groups of Rennies getting around. What was his name? Jonathan McLean, that I interviewed for my last time. He's now running the Bluffwoods Renaissance Festival in St. Joe. He said that's how their festivals come about. They were hanging out together and said, let's just start a Renfest. So you mentioned earlier, we were kind of discussing, Tulsa does not have a real Renaissance festival.
No.
They have the Celtic Gathering, but that's small and kind of a different theme.
And there's no excuse. Tulsa is plenty big to have a successful Renaissance festival that people from around Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and Arkansas would want to travel to. You have the population, I'm sure you have the interest. You've got to get the people together and begin getting a group who are serious enough about it to put some time in and think about how to do it and where to do it. And they're, I'm willing to be someone who would give some practical advice. We learned some things doing the Great Bend Renaissance Festival that I don't think people doing a festival for the first time always think about. And we could help you cut some corners and not make some mistakes for the first year.
Huzzah. Gramercy, that would be very welcome.
Yep.
And my saying all that, I'm not volunteering to start my own Renaissance fair. Mayhaps after I retire in several years, I would have more time. But I would be happy to be on a board or set up my booth if there's room, maybe do my archery show, and I could give advice and pass on advice, maybe bring him in electronically for any meetings.
Or I could possibly come down for a weekend if we got to where it was getting some legs under it and you were really talking about doing it. I'd be happy to come down and just sit down with you guys and say, so what are your plans, and just try to get you geared in the right direction.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave. Gramercy. I would be willing to help. I put out a video in November last year. You can find on my website. Craig Wallander was in it with me, and he said he would also help put on a fair. We have plenty of venues in and around Tulsa where this could be held. It has enough room for a fair, is wooded, and has the parking and accessibility for trailers, for vendors to come in. So don't keep that on your hat if you have that idea.
Texas has like 6 or 7 Renaissance festivals.
At least. Aye.
And successful festivals. There's no reason Oklahoma can't have another successful festival. I really believe that.
It is true. There are nearly 500,000 people living right in Tulsa, and with the suburbs, it is close to 1 million. Same with Oklahoma City, and they're getting a new festival in Oklahoma City in November, so we have to keep up.
Yeah. If you got 3% of those people to come to your event, you got a successful event.
Definitely. Well put. Gramercy. Thank you. So, keep that on your hat for luncheons, gatherings. Let's see. I have another trivia question. I put one out a few weeks ago, but this one is much easier. When and where was the accordion invented? And some of you may be saying, but Meister, what does an accordion have to do with Renaissance or medieval times? Exactly. However, if you come up with the answer, you can type it in below in the comments, and I will give you the information next time I have a live event that is not on the festival ground. Speaking of live event on the festival ground, next weekend, next Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Stroud, Oklahoma, there will be a medieval festival, and it will be in the middle of town in Foster Park. The magical thing about it is being organized and run by David Timmons. I hope that name rings a bell for you seasoned fair attendees and performers and vendors. He used to run the King Arthur Fair in Stroud, which led to many acts and performers, acts and vendors that were there. They're now all around the region of this part of the United States. So he hopes to build that festival up and in a few years move it back out to Stroud Lake where it used to be. So go show your support. If it's cool enough, I may even be there with my booth set up. I intend to be there for a little while at least, taking pictures, and I'll do a live event showing what's going on. It is a free event. Come to Stroud. I hope to see you there next Saturday. And feel free to visit Meister's Realm at any time for a fair fix. I'll put the links to these live events, such as today's, on there, aside from the list of festivals all across the United States and Canada, and plenty of other videos and fun things to do as well. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I just think that we're in an interesting time. You're talking about how there's so many events going on the same weekend. And it wasn't that long ago you couldn't find a Renaissance Festival. So now we're having multiples going on. People have caught the bug, and I can remember having a conversation 8 years ago where we were saying, do you think the Renaissance Festivals will even keep going?
Oh my.
And the answer is yes. I think every year there are more Renaissance Festivals going on than their previous year. And what a horrible problem to have to decide which of the 3 Renaissance Festivals I'm going to attend this year. Instead of saying, gosh, I wish there was a Renaissance Festival going on. And if you have a festival that you've been supporting, support it. But, if you can get out and go to an event that you haven't done, they're not all created equal. They all have their own flavor. They have their own specialties. And they're all worth giving a shot. And especially if you've not got anything else going on and you see a new event starting, go out and support them. If you want to have more good events, you got to support the small events, because the small events will never become big, successful events without attendance.
It is true.
And sometimes you feel like, well, that fair's an hour away. That's a long way to go for a small fair. Well, it's a small fair now. But if they get enough people to come out and support and attend, it could be a big event. It could be a successful event. They can hire in more acts. They can bring in more vendors. They can get to better grounds or better place to have it. But money's an issue, and if they feel like no one cares, no one's really attending, they'll run it for a couple of years and be done. So if you want to have more Renaissance festivals in your state or in your area, venture out, go buy a ticket, go see the joust, go buy a few things from the vendors, go see some shows and tip the people at the show, and you'll increase the possibility of becoming a bigger event.
Working and rest of the time enjoying the fair.
And another thing is, if you're part of an event that has a group that comes every year, we've had a couple of times where the entire cast of another event goes and joins the cast from another event. And you could show up if you brought
Today, tomorrow's his birthday, so happy early birthday. He's 39. You look like 39.
I feel like 39. I'm 39 with a lot of experience.
That's what my brother says.
22 years.
Good day, Craig Meister here, just ensuring, I think we'll leave it working now.
In the merry month of May, from the
Tools.
start left the girls in tune, nearly
Back and forth. Oh my, we do not want that. Very good. I like that mixture of them. Okay, very good. Have we come around here?